Folks, please join me in welcoming NAMA's President and CEO, Carla Balakgie.
Pete, I think we make a great team too. Hello, everyone. So great, in fact, that Pete and I are going to tag team some comments to you this afternoon about the state of the industry, current and future. But before I do that, I want to extend an official welcome to the 2015 OneShow. Thank you for being here in Las Vegas. We know it's an investment for you to come here and to be a part of this experience, and we assure you it will pay off. But for us, seeing so many of you here already and seeing your excitement in this packed house, it feels like a payoff already. So, the OneShow culminates a period of meaningful transformation for our organization. Pete and I have worked together for 2 years, combining his perspective as chairman of the board and as an operator, and my perspective as CEO of the association and as your standard bearer for the industry. Over that time, we've had the opportunity to develop and refine ideas that we believe are imperative to the future of our industry. And these concepts were also the focus of our recent board strategy session. And we have identified what we believe are NAMA's most pressing priorities, and as such, the industry's, and we want to share them with you today. So our goal for the next 15 to 20 minutes is simple. We want to inspire and motivate you. And we'll discuss the tremendous progress we've made, but more important, what we think is our strategy for the future. So I'm going to begin. And our vision is framed by 3 priorities. Playing offense is the first. Harnessing technology to drive growth is the second. And adapting in everything we do is the third. Okay, so playing offense, a top priority at NAMA is to protect your businesses, to work to mitigate the challenges that could hurt your ability to grow. That's why we have invested so much in a strong and proactive advocacy function. And with that foundation in place, we've been able to employ this playing offense strategy. Okay, so I know there's plenty of sports fans in the audience. It's exactly what it sounds like. A strong offense is the best defense, and it results in strategic advantage. In playing offense, we don't just do government affairs, but we also leverage public and media relations, as well as some very strategic partnerships and relationships. By activating and integrating all of these things, we've made some big gains for the industry. Our work in nutrition and wellness is a powerful example. As we know, food is big news, and it has been for several years now. How food impacts America's health has emerged as the single most important focus of media reports on this topic. The government is clearly paying more attention to nutrition, hello calorie disclosure, and the issue has galvanized the public. But more than 10 years ago, NAMA got out ahead of this conversation by developing its award-winning FitPick program. This simple yet effective food labeling initiative identifies better-for-you choices and provides nutrition information to millions of consumers nationwide every single day. It was way ahead of its time, and to the credit of those who created it. But we didn't rest on our laurels. We've gone further. NAMA significantly stepped up offense on nutrition and wellness this year. And we'd like to touch on 2 successes to illustrate this point. One is the launch of FitPick 2.0, which I think you saw on the video. We updated the program, providing new standards, a whole new range of product options, and a wide array of nutritional resources for everybody involved, all stakeholders, clients, consumers, et cetera. We've also engaged nationally recognized experts with the creation of NAMA's Nutrition Advisory Council, and that group is guiding our efforts. That's strategic partners. Playing offense in this case also means targeting media and influencers. Just this last month, we capitalized on National Nutrition Month to build awareness for FitPick, and through traditional and online media, NAMA generated 50 million consumer impressions and nearly 600 placements in news outlets coast to coast. That's a lot of eyeballs. That's offense. Moving forward, we're looking for ways to make an even bigger impact. But what do I mean? I mean meaningful and measurable actions that demonstrate the industry's commitment to consumers, public officials, and anyone else, our industry's commitment to being a part of the nutrition solution. The food issue. This self-directed show of leadership builds credibility and enables us to drive positive, impactful results on your behalf, to play offense. You'll hear a lot more about this in the coming months, so I will leave off here, but just stay tuned.
So there's a second nutrition-related success story that we'd like to highlight, the calorie disclosure ruling. This was a significant victory that many of you helped to secure. Our collective outreach and relationship building clearly paid off. In debating this issue that directly impacted you, our elected officials listened, they got to know your businesses, and they took action on your behalf. Adding to the positive outcome was refreshment services being granted a 2-year compliance window. Some other industries, grocers for example, were given only 1 year. Now this additional time is a very big deal. The speed to comply could have been devastating in terms of cost to the industry had we only been granted 1 year. But folks, this is not a one-and-done situation. We've invited operators, suppliers, and others to sit at the table with us as we work with the FDA to shape the rules as they are being finalized. Our advocacy efforts require a very strong commitment from the entire industry, and they also require strategic partnerships with high-level organizations like the Alliance for a Healthier Generation, the Pew Charitable Trusts, as well as federal agencies like the USDA. Are these relationships any sort of a guarantee? Absolutely not. The reality is that the regulatory environment is getting tougher and consumers are more galvanized than ever. The only way to protect the industry is by relentlessly telling our story. Now, the good news is it's not hard to get involved. In fact, we have a great opportunity coming up this summer. Led by our government affairs team, NAMA will take the hill during our first ever fly-in scheduled for July 21st and 22nd in Washington, D.C. Now, this event is your chance to meet face-to-face with your elected officials to discuss the issues that are most important to you. More than 100 people have registered so far, and we are inviting everyone to join us. This is your chance to be heard.
So I mentioned there were 3 big priorities. The second is helping the industry to harness the power of technology, technology that is transforming the world as we know it. It's a big challenge. It cuts across all business lines and affects all companies from the smallest to the largest and everything in between. So we face a lot of exciting opportunities: cashless vending, calorie disclosure, consumer loyalty, big data, choice of products and delivery options, a lot of great opportunity. But as a group, I think it's fair to say we're not taking full advantage of these opportunities yet. Pete and I don't want to preach, but we do want to set the table for you here about this opportunity. As leaders of NAMA, we feel it is our role to do all we can to invite you to learn about the growth that's available to you through technology. For example, convergence, you know that word, right? The combination of 2 or more different technologies on a single device is the new norm. Consumers, like me, track calories with their watches and tap their phones to pay for their products at Starbucks. The trend is not going to abate. So to cater to today's tech-savvy consumers, businesses must redesign how they do, what they do. For our industry, mobile payments is a great example of successful convergence at the point of sale. So what are the barriers to implementing these new technologies? Well, I'll tell you what you've told us. Some of you have said the learning curve is way too high, that the changes are too rapid, too unpredictable. You don't know where to invest. Others among you feel that the investment is too great, too risky. Why change? We understand, and we hear you. It is complicated. Emerging technologies do require a financial investment. And just as important, they require a commitment to learning, continuous learning, which is a time commitment to stay on top of all this. So there you go. You're asking yourself, what's the payoff? Well, we can tell you a couple examples. Let's take cashless payments, for example. You know my passion around that. It's a very current technology, something you can do today. In vending, right now, accepting multiple forms of payment, especially cashless, results on average in a 21% lift in sales. And this is only going to continue to grow. But despite this compelling statistic and upside, the vending channel currently lags behind almost every other retail channel, with only 11% of our transactions coming from electronic payments. In stark contrast, we have a living example with micro markets where 100% of sales are electronic payments. Payments are just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to consumer engagement and opportunity. There are a lot of other opportunities that you can leverage. Quite simply, we don't want you to miss out on any of the opportunity and the tremendous potential. Yes, you may need to revise your capital investment strategy, but keeping up with technology is the cost of doing business today. Most of all, you will need to develop a strategy for overcoming the requirements of change, because things are changing so fast, so quickly. Today's technology may be obsolete in 2 years or less, just like your phone, not 15. But in light of this ongoing evolution, should you defer investment? I say no, we say no, because every deferred opportunity puts you that much farther behind the competition.
And this leads us to NAMA's third priority, which has to do with change, specifically the mind-bending speed of change. The rate of change and the need for adaptability to stay current and profitable is unprecedented. This new normal requires a new mindset. As the consultant and innovation strategist Max McCune has said, adaptability is about the powerful difference between adapting to cope and adapting to win. At NAMA, we want you to adapt to win. To do so will require new talent, new data, and new knowledge. Now, we're engaging our future leaders to help guide us through the next several decades. Our Emerging Leaders Network is full of energy and enthusiasm and talent. Although this group is still relatively new, it already has 100 members. These younger professionals are supporting millennial research, executing social media campaigns, and adding a new, refreshing vibrancy to our industry. In your businesses, we encourage you to identify young, talented employees and engage them in shaping your growth plans. Equally important is data. To adapt to win, we need to consider the potential of big data. What does big data have to do with our business? Well, the answer is plenty. Let's take a moment to consider how consumers are fundamentally reshaping the landscape for business. From services to products to information, consumers are more demanding. Essentially, today's consumers want what they want, when they want it, how they want it, and they also want to know a lot about it. And that's where data comes in. By looking at individual preferences, buying habits, and behavioral patterns, you can shape your business plans to meet consumer needs and better position yourself for success. And NAMA can help provide this insight. A good example is the strategic coffee research that we did in 2013, you may remember. The results clearly made the business case for broadening your OCS offerings. You began to infuse the coffeehouse environment at your customer locations. You expanded premium and single cup offerings. And it worked. Sales in the OCS channel began to climb, and they continue to do so today. Now, we want to be clear on this point. NAMA's role is to gather the information and to turn it into actionable data. But we can't do this alone. We have to have data to analyze. And that's where all of you come in. Your role, participate in the surveys that we send out. With the data you provide, we can develop research funded by our NAMA Foundation to serve as your competitive advantage. NAMA will continue to look at broad trends and develop intelligence most relevant to your business. Now, whether it's NAMA's or the data that you generate from your own systems, it's still up to you. It's your responsibility to act on it.
And so finally, the third priority, adapting to win, requires becoming a lifelong learner about technology, consumer behavior, marketing, whatever it takes. It's a matter of keeping up with the aspects of the industry that can impact your growth. It's also the discipline to take what you've learned and apply it through thought leadership, education, again, whatever it takes, putting this knowledge to work for you. NAMA is here to help you understand what you need to know to grow your business and to understand the importance of learning throughout all phases.
So we've talked about growth, opportunity, change, and challenge. These issues can seem pretty daunting, but our message is a positive one. We're optimistic because you are. There are many ways to forecast the future, and I think we will all agree that there's no more expert source for projections in the industry than you, NAMA operators. So here's what you've told us in our recent industry census about growth by 2017. 69% of operators expect OCS revenues to grow an average of 20% in 2 years. In micro markets, the newest channel, 89% of operators expect micro market revenues to grow with an increase of 40%. In our flagship, most mature vertical, vending, 60% of you said that revenues will grow with an average of 15%. It's clear all three channels show great potential for growth in the next 2 years. Not much question about that. These are impressive numbers, numbers that make us very optimistic about the future of our industry.
To take advantage, of course, of all this potential and to prevail in the face of the issues that we've outlined, to achieve meaningful transformation, there's an old adage that holds very, very true. It takes a village. So, through our collective strength, we will play offense, staying on top of the trends, monitoring legislative and regulatory issues, and leading the important conversations that affect our future. Through our collective reach, we will help you to harness technology to drive growth. And through our collective knowledge network, we will help you to learn how to adapt to the new speed of change. The good news is, you look around. You have a village in NAMA. And the NAMA village will be here to support
you every step of the way.
Thank you.